Saturday, June 2nd, I'm hosting the very first live So Much to Say podcast in celebration of our 1-year anniversary. We're discussing words that hurt, faggot versus nigger. Again, that's Saturday, June 2nd at 5 p.m. in Atlanta. For tickets and details, visit www.craigthewriterstewart.com. Click on the podcast tab. I hope to see you there. Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. I'm Craig the Writer Stewart, and this is So Much to Say. These are my thoughts in my voice on black shit, white shit, gay shit, and everything in between. Now, this is going to be a very different kind of podcast. I was actually assembled with a room full of people, and we were just having dialogue about life and being gay and relationships and every single thing that gay people tend to think about, the issues that matter to us most. And the conversation was just kind of moving in such a way that I felt like it was important to capture it, to put it in a bottle and share it with you guys. So hopefully you'll be able to get something out of it. This is very personal work for me. Politics. I believe I was called to tell my story, use my voice, be a voice for the community, to speak to and for a community of people that's been ignored, denied, overlooked. Religion. This is my life's work. Religion. I want to use words to uplift, heal, inspire, encourage. Do something different. Every Monday at 10.
The thing is about relationships is you almost have to go in trusting the person, and sometimes when you do that, I feel like a relationship, hopefully you don't get hurt, but sometimes it does end up hurt because you just don't know. And if you're going to enter in a relationship, you can't go in there half-stepping like, ooh, I don't know about you, I can't trust you, I can't do this, I can't do that. But you're going to have sex with them. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to do all of that, you got to trust them to a certain extent.
Sometimes I think when you initially get into a relationship, you have to set parameters and you have to set boundaries and you have to have those conversations. It's all about communication. So if you communicate with somebody and say, hey, I want to be with you, but I also may have my eye on somebody else, or hey, how about we bring in another party or whatever. When you set those boundaries and you set the parameters as far as how far you are willing to go when you're in a relationship, that also helps your relationship succeed. But if you don't have that conversation, then if you get hurt, then it's on you. It's all about communication.
And that's even when you're getting to know the person as well, mm-hmm. right?
Most definitely. You have to set that in the beginning.
And I've said that, and they seem not, they don't get it.
Who don't? What you mean they don't get it?
They don't get it. I told them from day one. I'm a communicator. Mm-hmm. I'm a big communicator. I know what you're thinking.
Correct. We don't have first of all.
And we can't have a conversation through text because that can be interpreted in another type of way.
Most definitely.
Lost in translation.
You're like, you say this, you say that. How do you know I said it like that?
Right.
Was I talking through the text? Did you hear my voice?
I also feel like
that happened both of you. Sorry, y'all.
I also feel like when you feel like you're taking something, if somebody sends you a text message and you feel like that text message has gone so far to the left, I feel like at that point you need to pick up the phone and say, hey, let's talk about this message that you sent. Let me know how you actually felt about this. What did you actually mean? But again, it's all about conversation. It's all about communication.
And then what if you want to talk about it, but this is them? Oh, nothing.
Doing this on
nothing. Everything is nothing. Nothing.
That shows their level of maturity.
And when I say, have a good day, and hang the phone up.
Well, that shows their level of maturity. Maturity, I always say, doesn't just come with age. I was very young and mature. Some people are in their 40s and 50s and still are immature. But when you're immature like that, if that's what you're going to do, you're going to hang up the phone, you don't want to talk about it. Mm-hmm. But with your level of maturity, you should be able to talk about it, communicate. I'm going to always go back to that. Talk about, communicate.
That's what I told them. I say, either, we can talk over the phone, one-on-one, or we could talk person to person. Because I like to see your face expressions. I want to see your emotions whenever you're talking to me.
And you can't get to know a person over text.
You
No,
can't.
can't.
You cannot.
Yeah,
You
but to
cannot.
spend time,
You have
know,
to spend time together. Quality time.
Yeah.
I'm big on that.
But one thing that gets me, so many people ask for something you're not giving yourself. It doesn't make sense to me. You can't ask for a communicator if you don't communicate. You can't ask for a lawyer man if you're a whore. Like, the fuck did you expect? Like, you out here cheating on me, but I'm supposed to be your everything. It just doesn't make sense to me.
And someone that's always picking, it's like this person that they nitpicking, or whatever. Something is always wrong with what I'm doing or what I'm saying.
Oh, that'll preach.
So I'm like,
Been there.
what is it really going on? You know, I had a situation I had to deal with today. Before I came here, I had a situation. I had to call my cousin. I call her, yeah, Anna, fix my life. Because I'm like, look, she said, Marna, look like it's, what's her name? But anyway,
Williams.
she said, look like every time you look, this person is always saying, you're doing this, you're saying that, you're doing this, you're saying. It's like, it's repeating it over and over.
This the person we were talking about last night?
Yes.
Yeah, just from the looking in the cabinets and stuff like that, I feel like that person is very insecure, and I think that comes along with the reason, like the whole reasoning behind them asking you all these questions and always blaming you for things. It comes with their level of security. If you're not secure in yourself and know that I am the person for you, and not really say that you have faith in that person, but trust that person, then I could think that you're doing something all the time and you're actually not doing anything. You're just going to work and coming back home. But I'm thinking that you're sleeping with the person at your job, with the secretary, with
That's
the...
insecurity.
That's
insecurity.
Yes.
And that's what I got to get
I
over.
can't do it.
Right.
It's always something with me. It's always
I had to get
something
over
with me.
that.
I can relate to
All the
that
time.
because the person
I'm always doing something.
that y'all met of mine that was here last year and claimed they were so in love with me and they were gonna move here and da, da. I was literally getting ready to rearrange my
Yes.
entire life for this person because I really, and even to this day, this person has a piece of my heart. It's really hard to let go, and it's something I've been dealing with. But I was getting ready to rearrange my life, and we live in two different states. Now you have gone back home, and you have clearly started with something with somebody else, but don't tell me. And then you accuse me of trying to, I guess, be with your friend. For like, I can't think of my word, my SAT word today. But you accuse me of trying to like get with your close friend.
Whore around.
Yeah, I don't even know your friend like that. I met your friend one time, and then it becomes this big thing where I'm just this big bad person, but I haven't done anything but live my life and support you through your time of need. And like I said, almost completely rearrange my life to put you in and make it work so you can come to Atlanta.
I will say this. I'm not going to say all, but a lot of people that are accusatory are the ones
Are the
that are
ones
actually
doing it wrong.
Doing it
Yes.
wrong.
Yeah.
So in that situation, he was the one
He was
doing
wrong.
it wrong, but constantly wanted to find ways to break it off with you
Instead
but-
of being honest.
Exactly.
And I said that. I said, if you don't want this anymore, if you don't want this to go any further, just say that. I'm okay with that. If you moved on and you like somebody else, cool. But just tell me, don't string me along.
Somebody told me that a while back that, for somebody that nitpicks, it's either they may have found somebody else. You know what I'm saying? You're doing something, you want to move on.
Just go.
I'm like,
Wasn't that the
you
word
are a
today?
very direct person.
Move.
This person, they're a very direct person. So I'm like thinking to myself, like, if you that direct, you just could just tell me what you want to tell me because you told me
Right.
something you wanted to tell me before.
Right.
Because once before we were gonna go our separate ways or whatever, but we talked it out or whatever.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know. I guess what draws concern around that for me is the situation I shared with you all, that there was a lot of nitpicking from me prior to me walking in. And it was always, no, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? So I don't think it's always that the person nitpicking is doing something. I think there are a lot of times that intuition is just
It's
kicking
right.
in.
You right.
Yeah.
You know.
But what
You right.
And I think a lot of times what intuition will do for you a lot of time is
Exactly.
if they will not be honest. Because I think what bothers me a lot of times is you are given an opportunity a lot of times in love to be honest.
Right.
To allow people to say, I will still love you.
Right.
Just be honest.
Just be honest.
Yes.
But when they don't take that opportunity, then you have opportunities where it will be painful for me, but I walk into where it is now evidence.
Right.
So it frees me, but it also condemns you, for lack of better words, because at the end of the day, you've been asked several times. Is there something else going on? Because if it is, and if you want something else, let me go.
And for that very reason, I've
Yeah.
come to a place in my life where I don't need evidence. My instincts alone are
Yes.
enough.
Yes,
I
that's
don't
it.
need to find anything in your phone.
When my gut
I don't
start
need to find an
talking,
email. My instincts alone. Because I think oftentimes we stay in situations because we want to have a story to tell our friends. Well, why'd y'all break up? Oh, well, y'all went through his phone.
Right.
I don't need
I
that.
don't need that.
I've been in
Yeah.
situations where friends have said, well, why'd y'all break up? It just didn't feel right.
But
Right.
you know, I wouldn't even
Does it
necessarily
work
say
out?
for me it
Sounds,
wasn't. It wasn't
words.
about a story because I've always been a very recluse person. I've always been one that has been very big on covering, and not in a detrimental way, but in the sense of I understand that people are going through things, so I'm not here to expose you. Life will expose you, but at the end of the day, there is this opportunity that you're being afforded to tell the truth, because I think one of the powerful things in love that many of us negate is the fact that if you attach to somebody that really love you, there are opportunities a lot of times where people will say, if this is an issue for you, let's work through it together.
Yeah.
But a lot of times
Yeah.
we make the decision, you know what, I'm going to do what I want to do, fuck them, and if they find out, go on. You know what I mean? And it's like a lot of times there are people that are being placed in our lives to actually afford us an opportunity of escape from the thing that's had us trapped for 50 years. You know what I mean? And I think we don't take those
They don't take
opportunities because we're like, oh, now you coming for me. No, I'm
trying to
it's
help
your
you.
truth. And I'm simply saying, let's work this truth together. You know what I mean? That's all.
Sometimes my parents have been together, and I'm not going to say that everything has been peaches and cream, but my parents have been together for like 35 years.
Same here, yeah.
That's been because of them saying, you did this, but I'm going to overlook it. I still love you. I'm going to overlook what you've done. But not saying that because you did this, I'm going to throw in the towel.
Right.
And that's why relationships last. And that's just to piggyback on what you were saying. You can't just at the drop of a dime, whenever something happens, throw in the towel and say,
Throw in the towel.
I'm done.
And see, that's why I don't know
Yes.
if I will ever have a 35-year relationship, because I don't know if I'm made of that kind of stuff. There are certain things that I can overlook because we're all human. We're all fallible. So I can say, okay, well, his credit is fucked up. Let me work through that. Oh, he really has little patience. I can work through that. But when you're talking about integrity shit, character flaws, I can't work through that. I don't know if I can navigate
And then
that.
also too, how much can you deal with? Like,
Right.
I can let go of some things, but I can't go through but so much with you.
Right, but I
Yeah.
think that I get that, but then also the concern becomes is the root of all of this is that all of us are being driven to a place of no empathy. You know what I mean? So I think at the end of the day, what ends up happening is that we keep saying, I ain't dealing with that, I ain't dealing with that shit, I ain't da. But then really what it does is it turns us off. And in that moment when I walked in and saw them two in the bed, I had to make a decision. Am I going to become a vulture and become this boy here that's laying in the bed now because I've seen this and it's so painful? Or am I going to make a conscious decision to love even the more? You know what I mean? And that's the decision I made. That's what allowed me to calm down and say, y'all not going to steal this piece of me and this treasure that I got. Because y'all decided to be ratchet and y'all wanted to break me. I'm going to make a decision to love even harder. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times, most of us, when we're feeling this pain, we are dying every day and becoming less empathetic and don't care. And you did it to me, I'm gonna do it back to you. And you do this, I'm gonna do it back to me. And then we're gonna end up with a world full of ratchet folk that have no empathy, don't care about nobody, don't feel for anybody's feelings. And that's something I'm not willing to give up.
And I
Because
had
I
to
think
learn
that's a
that.
great.
I had to learn that too, because I was like, from my previous situations, I was just like, you know what, fuck it. You done fuck me over, I'm gonna fuck everybody else over who who I'm communicating with. I was like that for a couple of years. I just weaned myself off of that. Like to now, I'm like this person I'm talking to now or whatever. I'm making sure I pace myself and making sure that I'm not seeming like I got this I don't give a fuck attitude. Because this previous situation I had about 3 months ago. Oh Jesus!
And see, oftentimes people like it's great that you recognize that and you've decided to pace yourself. But a lot of times people don't take
cannot do
themselves
that.
off the market.
Right.
They'll continue dating,
Yes.
then they'll fuck up the next person, then go and fuck up the next person.
Yes.
It's just like this repeated cycle.
Right.
But my question is, you want to say
Right.
something to that? No. Oh. But my question is, if we all say we're looking for the same things, why are we single?
That's a good
If
question.
we're all saying we're looking for the same thing,
I'm
we're
looking
all
for-
saying we're loyal, we're all saying we're faithful, we're not a cheater, Why are we single?
I will be the first to say that I'm not the best looking person out here. I don't have the six pack. I don't have the Coke bottle. You know, but I will say that I'm very picky on the person, their characteristics as far as what they like to do. If you don't like to do the same things or pretty much the same things that I like to do, then most probably I won't opt to date you. I won't try to make it go further than, you know, that normal coffee shop or a smoothie king date. I'll just leave it at that. If I know that we're not going, if I feel like we're not going to go further, then I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, mine is emotional. I'm a
will.
very emotional person. So when I attach myself to somebody, I feel like, okay, this person might be worth it. I go all in. And oftentimes I go all in too soon. And that's what I would say my fault is. I will run people away. So yeah, that was my thing. But I wouldn't say nothing.
I've always been
life
honest.
story.
I've
Yeah.
always been honest, and I've always
Yeah.
been accused. And then after the situation has broken up,
Yeah.
or even in the situation, I found out that they the fuck have been lying. They
The
the
whole
fuck
time.
have been accusing me. Because I'm always honest. Okay, if I did it, I did it. You know what I mean? But again, you know, you talked about intuition earlier and different things, those things, and I feel like, you know, again, this, you know, script talk about what's done in the dark comes to the light. So things have come to the light for me, and so my reaction has been, you know what, you fucking liar, or you, you know, you haven't been honest. So why even sometimes retract certain conversations? Because, you know, sometimes people, again, they're habitual liars. So you just leave them at that, and you just move on.
They'll leave an April Fool's
I
for
was
the
gonna
rest
say
of
something
their
like,
life.
kind of like the flip flop with this. I have not dated in a long time.
Dated
So
or a relationship?
dated. I have not
What do you
dated.
consider dated?
Like,
Right, yeah. Some people
like
fuck.
really getting to know somebody to start dating exclusively.
Like a relationship?
Yeah,
But you've
relationship.
been fucking.
Not,
That's
really,
a
not
question.
even really that. No,
How long you been single?
some years.
It's been a
Last time
long
you had
time.
sex.
Last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
During
No,
the year, I mean,
no,
I'm
now
not
we go
sure.
back to this question with David.
Oh, well, it is only March.
In order for him to engage into physical activity with somebody, it has to be dialogue and communication and dating and all that other stuff. He's not a one night stander, or he's not a
I don't buy it, Bishop. The way you holding your hand and looking all dear
no.
and serious.
This is my brother.
Your
We've
friends
been
don't
knowing
know-
each other for years.
You don't know everything about your friends.
We talk about it almost
He
everything.
being messy.
Look, almost everything.
You know, I mean, is this person I've been
Like somebody's grandma.
conversing with this person almost 3 months now. Okay, all right. So there's a real life thing happened earlier today, coming from church. Okay, this person had the little face mask on, and they had their head tied up with like a plastic bag that you make groceries with or whatever, some like plastic bag. So I said, okay, I said, you're like somebody from the Zulu, from New Orleans. And I said, I'm gonna take a picture of one of the Zulu people on the float, send it to you. He said, well, that's fine. So I said, why you have your head tied up like that with a plastic bag? He said, because I'm giving myself a deep conditioner. I said, a deep conditioner? And I said, I've never heard of a man having a deep conditioner done to his hair. I said, I've only heard women doing stuff like that. He said, well, men can get that too, and you should know that. I said, well, I didn't know that, sir. So we're gonna have to agree to disagree upon that. He said, well, how can you say that? Because just like, he said, so you saying like it's only for a woman to use body wash. He said, that's just like you saying it's only for a woman to
He
use
took it
facial
too deep.
wash.
child.
He
Yeah,
took
I
it
said,
too deep.
no, I'm not
Chinese.
saying that. I'm not
Too
saying
far.
that. He said, just like you shave your body. I know women shave their body. I said, we're going to have to agree to disagree on that. He said, here you go. You're categorizing people. I said, no, I'm not.
So who is this? What's this got to do with?
This is somebody that he's communicated with that is
And I
giving
want y'all-
him a lot of pushback as far as you know their situationship.
And I
Because
want to get
your
y'all feedback after I finish saying what I'm saying. All right,
You
so
got
after
your
that,
foundation.
so they went ahead and said, call me later. I was like in the middle, we talking about call me later. So they hang up the phone.
He
and
has
then
a bad attitude, and I don't like it.
So I sent them a text back. No, they sent me a text saying, when you begin to talk crazy like this, I have to take stage left. I said, why do you have to take stage left? I'm not talking crazy. I mean, I say what I said, you say what you said or whatever. I said, it was a simple conversation. So they called me back like, what? I'm like, hello? And they were like, you're a weirdo.
Oh,
He said, you say some of the stupidest things. I
How
said,
long
"What?"
have you known him?
I've been knowing him for a while, but we never talked like we talking now. We've been conversing for like almost 3 months now.
Sidebar, the argument seems so small. Like, I would have been so frustrated with it. Like, what are we arguing about? It's just really
And me, I wasn't even arguing. I
Exactly.
was just as cool and calm. Normally, if somebody tell me something like that, like,
Yeah.
you a weirdo, you say the stupidest things.
But see,
I
since
would've
it's
flipped
so
off.
it's so new and it's so fresh, I wouldn't even try to
Continue
investigate
it,
that.
right.
Yeah.
Because you can't talk to me.
Because I was thinking if I should approach them about it, you know,
No,
like
it's
later.
not
Because
even
I-
worth it
but
because
look,
it's still in the beginning stages.
that's why they said that.
I think some things are just game changers in the beginning stages.
Right.
But guess what he told me? He told me this. He said, he said something about me being this, you always being this masculine type or something, this masculine, whatever you were saying. He said, it's always gay this or feminist or men versus women or women versus men. You are gay. You're gay. I'm like, where's all this coming from? What are you talking about?
It's a deeper
But
issue,
just-
but he
That's
just
how
addressed
it
it.
is.
It
He's
is.
dealing
But
with
he just
something.
took a small.
Yeah, and
Ooh.
it's something definitely
Yeah.
previously before you guys started talking. It's not something that's just you. It's this is something that's been building. That's been building and building and building and building, and now he's taking it down to everybody that he's dealing with. But
'Cause I
like
don't-
you
Or
said,
do
that's
you
something
feel
so
like-
minute
Do you
that
feel like sometimes you may emasculate him by certain things he do? Because I mean, he may have a point of view, but I feel like he really
Right.
took it way left.
About
But-
the hair thing, I was like being serious about that. I said you can't hold anything against me that I didn't know. I said you do something I didn't know.
So what I want to say to you, you said about emasculating. What I promise you, 9 times out of 10, what attracted him to him.
Was him being masculine?
Was him being
I got
masculine.
that. But like for example, like I was dating a guy. Now I don't date people who have like way less than me or way more. I want us to be on an even field. But I had one guy, he didn't have a job at one time. He wasn't poor, he just lost a job. But I felt like he felt emasculated because I would just pay for stuff. But I'm like, you don't have it. I don't need you spending money that you don't have coming back in.
Right.
That's just out of concern out of you. I'm not telling you what to do as a man. But we got a lot of arguments about that. And we just
At
let
the
that
end
go.
of the day, we
I
all
don't
have to
wanna
realize
argue.
that we're all men. I had this conversation
But
with
if I'm your
somebody
partner,
the
and
other
I'm trying to be your
day.
partner,
No,
I'm always gonna
but
have your
people
back.
don't
Yeah.
realize that they get to the point where tops have to pay for things that bottoms just
Oh,
always receive.
that's
So
no
listen. That's what I had to tell.
like only.
That's what I had to tell somebody the other day. Regardless of my sexual preference,
I'm still a man.
I'm still a man at the end of the day. Like this guy, he wanted to drop. I told him to drop me off in one portion of the parking lot, and I would just walk to my car. And he's like, "Oh no, I just have to walk you to your car." I had to tell him at the end of the day, please realize I'm a man, and
Let me ask you this: so why would it have been a big deal for him to let you?
well,
off?
it wasn't a big deal, but it was a bunch of traffic. We went
I mean,
to the mall. We went to South Lake Mall, and there was a bunch of traffic and a bunch of people trying to go, maneuver through the mall. So at that point, I said, instead of you having to go back towards all the traffic, drop me off here, and you can go the other way to avoid the traffic. And he felt as though he had to drive me all the way around to my car for me to get out of the car, for him to watch me in the car. And I said, I understand what you're saying as far as you wanting to watch me and make sure I get in my car, but I have a cell phone. I can call you or text you and say, hey, I made it to my car. But at the end of the day, me, I'm a man.
But I think
But you're a man,
But that's him
but
trying
in
to
the
show
sense
you,
of like
man.
someone,
Yeah.
when you're in a relationship or trying to start a relationship, it's not about man versus man. It's just like, because I care for you,
Right.
I want to make sure that you're
It's
safe.
concern.
It's concern. Even if you are a man, I still want to
understand
do
that.
things that make sure that you are safe. And I want you to understand that I care about you.
I
And that
understand.
I want to protect you. Just like in another situation, you may have to protect me, feel like you have to protect me. It's not about I'm trying to take away something from you, but I just want to make sure you're okay.
But if I say, babe, I'm going to be
good.
okay. I'm just
It doesn't
gonna walk-
matter.
No. Listen, if I say, babe, I'm just going to walk from this
so
side.
y'all literally had an argument about that.
We didn't have an argument because of it. At the end of the day, he drove me all the way back around to my car. But it was a little bit going back and forth, saying,
See, I think we
Create.
create. I think we
Because I'd be like, okay, babe, watch
Right.
me get to my
I
car.
think sometimes
We'll
we
sit here and talk.
amplify
That's
things.
more time to spend with you.
Right. I think
Give me
sometimes
some
we
kisses.
amplify things that aren't
While
really
we
there.
traffic.
And that was the
Rub the
reason
penis
that I
on the
told
back.
y'all
Yeah.
that story earlier. That was the only reason that I was telling the story. Because see, at 41, I don't overlook things like I did at 27. You understand what I'm saying? Like the shit that we went through in that relationship is nothing that I would walk away from now.
And I agree.
And you guys are a little younger than me, so I'm seeing. Excuse me. So I'm kind of seeing like where y'all might make some of the silly quote unquote choices that I made when I was 27 or 30 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes we overanalyze.
Can I ask this question?
I think-
Because what I wrote it down, or actually earlier, it just came to me randomly, but intentionally, I think, is that particularly those of us that are in the black church,
Jesus.
have we really resolved?
Right. Because I think that's at the underbelly of all of
Because
this
I
shit.
don't, I think, going back to your question
finish
about
your
us,
point.
a lot of us being single, I don't think we really believe that it can work.
Yes, come on, somebody.
We don't believe that God ordains it in the first
Yes,
place.
so we
So
nitpick.
most of us run through it in the first place, drop
my
people
lady.
off, cut them off, da.
Because-
versus if you think about a lot of us that have parents that are still
I
together,
just said
that.
that will work through, because most of us don't feel that God is ordaining it in the first place. So you know what? This is temporary. It's gonna be what it is. They're a piece of mess. I'm a piece of mess. I'm doing what I'm doing. They were doing what they're doing. We have to work through this. Keep it moving, because God don't ordain it no way.
Anyway.
I'm gay. I'm saying I'm free. I'm saying that I'm liberated.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, in my heart, I still believe God
My mom
is
told
against
me
it
that.
Yes.
because of what I've been
told me that when
taught.
I
So
took my
therefore,
mom.
any relationship I get in, I run through it.
Everything
Anything
goes.
I see wrong, I run from. And that, I want to know if,
I believe
if
that.
we are.
I think
I'm wondering if we are, a lot of us are out, and a lot of us are saying we out, and we've gotten comfortable with our sphere of influence. But the truth of the matter is, at the root, we are not out.
Exactly.
And that's why we treat people in
Exactly.
any kind of way.
We
We're
just
not out.
We just discard them because I have said, I'm gonna let you make your point. But I've said before, there are so many people that go to gay pride events, that live a gay life. They go to gay parties, they go to gay functions, they go to gay clubs, but they have not really given themselves permission mentally to be free.
Yeah.
so. I would say this: I'm not solely convinced because I am a true. I read the Bible. And nowhere in there, not to be all biblical, but I've not read anywhere where there was two men married in the Bible or two women married in the Bible. So I'm not solely convinced that we should be married. However, when I get into a relation, or whenever I try to get to know another male, another same sex as me, I go into a full-fledged.
But
like,
you do understand that piece of you
Right.
that thinks that,
Right.
it plays a part in your
And it
relationship.
takes, and it also
It
will
does.
take away the you valuing the relationship.
Yeah.
Think
Because
about all
if you
the other stuff.
Because
the God that you say that is superior, if you're saying that you are still wrestling with if He ordains it and if He is for it, you will never respect it enough.
So about me.
Okay.
When I was dating females, and I dated females for a long time before I even dipped over into the male pond, I dated females, and I was the exact same way as far as, you know, trying to figure out in the immediate beginning if they were going to be a suit for me.
But that's different from
Yeah, that's-
the world being
So-
against you and who you are.
And so
Can I read this to you?
I'm so carefree. And most people call me a free spirit. I don't care what the world thinks because at the end of the day, the world's not going to take care of me.
But seeing a relationship with a man,
And guess
And
what?
whether or not it can
I will
work.
I will be completely comfortable with that because at the end of the day, me and this man have to live our life, and we have to give an account
but you
for
open
us.
with, I don't see a space in the Bible where it's okay. You didn't start with that with the
Right.
you didn't have that thought with the woman.
And so with that, can I read you the scripture since you want to get Bible? And we skip over the scripture a lot. I've never heard this until recently. It's in John 21:25. It says Jesus did many other things. If they were all written down, I suppose the whole world could not contain the books that would have been written. Which lets us know that there's so many other things that were not written. Not saying that same sex were written in the sense, but I'm saying, but there's so many other
There were
things.
so many things
I
that
think there was
happened
so
that
many
are
other
not
things
in the
that are
Bible.
not in the
And I
Bible.
also
And
think
then
that was
when we get
pertaining more
into
to
the
his
marriage
miracles.
part of things, let's be real, man. Like a lot of people that get married are not doing the biblical. They're not doing
Right.
the biblical
Right.
way.
Yeah,
But I think here what I want. This is
And
the point I want to point out is that I have met conscience enough. I have met God enough within to know that God loves love. At the end
most
of the day.
definitely, because that's
So I
the
can't-
greatest
and
commandment of them
right,
all.
You're right, and I can't debate the men, the women, the whatever. What I do realize is that God honors love. So as a result of that, what that commands for me to do and dictates for me, and it puts me in a place of is that even when I'm in a relationship with a man, that it makes me honor it as if it is unto God. And I think if you are still grappling with the fact if God is not for it, you can disrespect what God has given you because you don't feel like it's for you.
Right, because on a subconscious
Yeah, on a
level,
subconscious.
that all plays.
Yes.
Exactly.
There has to be.
I was the best man in my best friend's wedding. I stood up for my best friend marrying another man. So
That's for somebody else. Not for you.
I'm not going to totally say that no, it's never going to be. I'm never going to be married to a man. I'm just saying.
Right, but what we're saying is if you don't resolve that seed
first thing
that's
is
in your
seed.
mind,
That God is
you'll
for
never
it,
be settled.
and that God wants love.
If we
Period.
really want to be technical, we
I
under
agree
grace,
with
so he ain't gonna hold it against
So
us.
exactly. But if you have not resolved that
you haven't-
within,
but there
you
has
haven't
to
resolved
be-
that within, there is no relationship that will ever
Work.
work. Because at the end of the day, if you have not resolved that God is in this, and God is for this, and God is going to bless this if we
Yes.
commit to this,
Yes.
and God is going to work with us as we work with each other. If we don't do that, then we will treat each other in a community that should be for each other.
Yeah.
We will treat each other like trash,
And that's
we
how
will
we
become
sometimes do.
the weapon to the very people that need the love the most.
And I say this, when I was in college, I had this same experience because in college that was my first time like officially trying to come out. And I remember going to the chapel across the street to talk to my chaplain because I was like, I'm finna go to hell, something ain't right with me, like all this stuff. And he said something, he was like, whatever you're gonna do, God wants you to do your best. And that was his exact words. He was like, always think of whatever you do it at a caliber that's gonna be respectful unto him and give him honor and give him praise. And since then I have lived toward that. Because at first, like I said, I thought that too. Like I'm going to hell, this not gonna work, whatever. Yeah. But after he told me that, I was like, you know what, that makes sense. So every time I go into a situation, like my dad always instilled in me, when you can love somebody, love hard and all this other stuff like respect and everybody. And I lived that. And I know he was telling me for a woman, but I mean, now it's for a man. But you know, so another day,
For
like,
instance,
right,
for instance, I
now-
grew up with both my parents.
right.
My parents are still together. And what I realized, particularly dating people that are parents are not together
Right.
and they have
It's a different-
That's a
it's
whole
different
nother
context.
set of issues.
Particularly if you have met conscience and you have met authority in the sense of, I know God is for this. And I know God is for love if he's not for these bodies, these temples. And what I realized is so when I go into a relationship, it is very much like what I saw with my parents. That we fight.
Yes.
We go through. We push through. You follow what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times what has been removed and snatched from the gay culture is, particularly in the black community, because of what we've been taught and trained in church.
And conditioned to believe.
Very good. Yeah, conditioned to believe that many of us, we have gotten to the point where fuck society, so I'm out.
Yeah.
But we have not resolved this internal demon on the inside that God is for it.
And what
And
I
so
would
we
say
disrespect.
to that is I've been under the I've been in a space now where I believe that being gay isn't the sin. It's how we use it
Yeah.
that's sometimes
That's good.
sinful.
Very good.
That's
The
good.
way that we use the sex
Very good.
haphazardly,
Very good.
bathhouses, the park,
Got you.
sex parties, and I understand that all of that is even connected to the way that we
I perceive.
the way that we see ourselves, and then sometimes we're pushed to that because we've been damaged. We've been damaged by family, friends, classmates saying you sissy, you fag, right? So it's this internal turmoil.
It's a war.
Yeah, it's this internal battle.
And I realized too that I'm 38 years old. Well, now I'm 38, but I realized a while ago that most of gay culture, particularly, and when you consider this narcissistic element that is coming over this society in general by way of social media and ego-driven, what I've noticed is that you will find 38-year-olds, as you said earlier, that are 5.
Peter Pan syndrome.
Yes.
Don't want to grow up.
Right.
Don't want to grow up.
That's a real
And it
thing.
is going to take intentional work
Yeah.
for you to acknowledge, I'm 38, but I'm 5.
And I think
And
what
now
happens
I gotta-
is so many get stuck in a certain space.
Yes.
Because when I came into this community, it was all about going to the clubs. There was literally something to do every single night. But then I saw these kids that were on the ball scene.
Yeah.
Some that did the house party scene. Some that did the club scene. Then you have the people that do the drug scene and then the bathhouse scene. And I've seen so many gay men, black, white, Hispanic, whatever, get stuck in
That
certain
certain scene.
scenes. And it's like they never really evolve
never grow
past
up.
it. I think it's important for us to experience it. experience whatever it is that you need to
And
experience,
let it go.
and let it go.
And I was
move on.
gonna before you go, I was gonna say there truly has to be a settling in your spirit
Yeah. Gonna let
about
that go.
who you are.
Yeah.
And I went through this, and I think most gay men, well, all gay men go through it if they're connected to God or a higher being in some type of way. Especially if you're a Christian, you have to sit and work that thing out. And until you truly work that thing out inside of yourself, and you figure out a way to mesh who you are with who God is and have that true relationship with Him, there's always going to be something inside of you that rejects you.
And I think that that's part of the
And you
reason
have to
why-
figure out a way to reject the rejection.
Right.
And
And I think that part of the reason why sometimes we have these relationships that are stunted or that end prematurely is because you end up in a relationship with someone that hasn't done that
Hasn't
work.
done-
And
Been
see,
there.
that's what I was going to say.
Been
It
there.
really, it really depends on who you choose
Today.
to surround. No, not. It all depends on who you choose to surround yourself with. Because to go back to what you said, you could be 38, but you could be 5. If you choose to be around people that only want to be 5,
Absolutely.
you're going to stay in that 5 mentality. But if you choose, because remember, this is the choice of who you hang around. If you choose to be around people who are in their 30s, 35, 38, 40, then they could be the ones that could be coaching you to bring you to the next level.
So
But
then
if
the
you-
question though still is, why, if we're all saying we want the same
I'm gonna tell you
thing,
why though. I feel like a lot of people don't know how to make a relationship work because they haven't seen one. You ain't grow up with your parents together. You don't know how that dynamic
Well, I
is.
seen
So a lot of people don't. I come from a single parent. Like my mother was by herself.
But what I was
I
saying
never
is-
saw love until I became older myself, and I had to figure out what love was for me.
Right.
Because I didn't
maybe
see it
I'm
growing
not
up.
love.
And I think there's a mixture of things. I don't think it's just
The
one
one
thing. That's why I
thing.
just
It's a lot
want
of
to hear
things.
everybody's. Because the reality is, to your point, most black men, gay, straight, bisexual, whatever, most of us were raised by single mothers. Period. So most of us haven't had demonstrations. That's why sometimes you see heterosexual men have a baby with this girl over here, then he goes have a baby over here with this girl. So part of that is because they haven't seen demonstrations, but then also some of that goes back to slavery because we were trained to breed.
Right.
So you have a kid with this girl, then around the corner you got one with this one over here. You know what I mean? So it all is systemic.
And then again, at what point do we grow up and say that I'm going to be who I want my children to be?
You have to
or
do
I
your
want-
work.
But that's
Do
the
you-
thing.
and that way, yeah,
you
y'all
also
said
think about
you
gay
gotta do
culture
your
as
work.
well.
You gotta do your
We
work.
said it earlier. I think most gay persons, again, when I shared with my mom that I was gay, immediately, of course, in her thought is no children.
Right.
So you can imagine in the gay person's mind, it's no children as well, because so we're not thinking about legacy.
Right.
Everything is very much.
I'm the
Can you
last
fuck? Are
of
you
my
top,
name.
bottom? Are you this? Are you that? What can you give me right now?
Right.
We're not thinking long term, because if we were, then we would sustain through stuff. We would work through things. But then that tells me everything is very much now.
Right. Because the reality is, before I came into this community, and I've said this many times before, I don't use the word lifestyle. Because lifestyle speaks to a choice.
choice
I
and a
choose to work
change.
out 4 or 5 days a week.
Right.
I choose to shop at Whole Foods versus Kroger. So those are lifestyle things. But when I came into this community, there were certain things that I expected to happen. I had this perception of what I thought it meant. So to your point, our parents feel the same way. They have this, like with my mom, she thought,
Sick, yeah.
being gay meant you're gonna become HIV positive at some point. So for me, that became a thing that I tried to be conscious of, and I made this unspoken promise that would never become my reality, because I knew that that's what her fear was.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to what you said. You said a lot of people think about right now. I found out that I was attracted to males when I was in junior high. And until I graduated high school, I still dated females. Still, even after I graduated high school, I still dated females. It was a struggle within me because I didn't want to be what people said I was going to be. People don't realize that your words linger on for years and years and years and years, or for moments and moments and moments and moments. People told me that I would be gay when I was younger. They told me that I was going to be a fag or a sissy or whatever. They may not realize it now, but I feel like they kind of did have something to do with how I am now.
So do you think that your sexuality is how you're wired, or do you think it's because people said to you you're gay?
A little of both.
Well, I can really see that's part of the work from my
Right,
perspective. Looking
right.
at you,
I agree.
that's a part of the, because see, you scare me. Because in terms of being a single person, looking for a relationship, looking for partnership, because I don't know all of that stuff is inside of you when I meet you and it's giving, hey, how you doing? I'm Craig, and what's your name?
Actually, this guy that I met yesterday, I told him all of this. I put it all on the table, and
But
I
that's
let
what I'm
him
saying.
know.
I think that
'Cause
that's
I'm so
the work.
open.
That's the work that you have,
You
to,
have
do.
to do.
Because I feel like I feel like until you get that resolved, you should remove yourself from the dating market.
But what honestly, whoever I'm dealing with, I did stay off the dating market for a whole year. But anyway, whoever I'm dating, regardless of how I feel, as far as when I was growing up as a child, or when I got to high school and noticed that I started dating men, I give them my all, and that's the God honest truth. Like, I give them my all. I want to be that person that's committed to you and going on dates, and I want to be that person
But I don't
that
think
you
you hear what they're saying.
Yeah, but I don't
what
think
they're saying is
I don't think
you
it's
might hear
possible.
their all, you might give your all, but because you have these other conflicting things inside of you, you're giving your all,
But at
but
the
you're
end of
not
the
really
day,
giving your all. It's not really your all. Because you got to deal with all that other stuff
At the
that's
end of
there.
the day, I'm not. At the end of the day, I'm not going to leave from this establishment and walk outside and say, I want to date females. I want to be with a female.
It's not about that,
It's not
though.
about that.
It's about you know who you are. You know you're a gay man. How so and ever you have these other things inside of you that have been built in you and have been pushed down in you and talked over you all these years, and you have never dealt with those things. You yourself have to deal with those things before you can
and
give
there are so
yourself
many of
to
us
someone
like
else.
that in this community. Like what I have said, I've written this. We are a community of broken hearts and souls trying to have relationships with other broken hearts and souls.
Amen.
You have to heal your heart.
Yes.
From the moment that I knew that I was gay, I admitted it to myself before I ever said the words to anybody. I knew I was gay. My heart shattered just a little bit.
Yes.
My heart bled for years. My heart bled in every single relationship that I had, every single friendship that I had, until I got to a space where I was clear and cool with who I was. That's when the heart started to heal. But what happens is that bleeding heart that you're carrying, when you're not really completely whole and knowing who you are, it will poison every single relationship that you get.
So tell me, how do you think I should feel about? And I know you can't give me a definitive answer, but tell me how you think I should feel about my situation, or what I voiced.
I think that what has to happen is, for me, it was about doing some dying, and I mean it on on a spiritual and I had to separate what the world had told me and forced me to believe about God and sexuality from what I knew for myself. And part of that for black people or people of color, gay men of color, is we have to separate what the world has told us, what we've been conditioned to believe about God and religion, and figure it out for ourselves. What do you know for yourself? When you extrapolate everything that you've been taught by whoever taught you about religion, when you separate all of that, what do you know for yourself?
God is love.
Because what I know now is that being gay does not put me on the wrong side with God.
Yeah.
No.
Because you even think about and I think this is a conversation and a image that a lot of us have that we will not be honest about. Because of what we've been taught and conditioned, as you just said, Craig, is that at the end of the day, we have this thing that God is against us and He's punishing us. So if you have that image subconsciously on the inside, what is going to make me appreciate Him? Because at the end of the day, I feel like at some point I'm going to be punished.
But this work right here,
So
this
why,
is the work that you have to do on a daily basis alone.
To help you, Dre, for me,
Exactly.
I remember, like you said, growing up, my mom was like, this was wrong, this was that. I said, but for me, God has always teach love. Love is the best part about me, because if I love you, I love you.
Yeah.
So early on, I was like, I'm cool with the gay thing, because if I'm gonna love somebody, I'm gonna love them to the best of my ability, and I feel like that's the best part of me, so I never had to deal with that. But like you said, the first thing you said that you felt like it was kind of like wrong, so then it's kind of like you don't believe that it can happen because a part of you is fighting on the inside.
I know what I want, though. I know what I want.
But to get to what you want, you got to clear your mind.
I got a question.
Go
I'm
ahead.
definitely married.
No, let me say like this. What's like what are your views about like when someone say they've been born gay? I believe I was born gay.
I was born
because
I believe
when I was elementary, I noticed the things that
I
would
just
just
don't like women, so.
turn me off. You know, when I was small, you know what I'm saying, the things I would be doing. And it went from elementary to middle school to high school. Some people say you're not born gay. I believe I was born gay. And then, so some people say, God wouldn't allow someone to be born gay, but God allows some people to be born handicapped. Some people can't see, some people can't hear. So what are you talking about when you say that he wouldn't allow me to be born gay? So I'm like, I don't.
So, and this we'll probably never get to the
You
bottom
expect
of
me
it.
to change it?
We'll probably never get to the bottom of it because, to my point earlier, I said I've never seen in the Bible where two men or two women were married together. But what another point that somebody else brought was there are a lot of things that are left out of the Bible. So again, there are people that believe what they see, and there are people that believe what they see but they don't see. If that makes sense. You know, what he said was, you know, this basically is saying that everything is not recorded in the Bible. So he believes what he sees, but he doesn't see because a lot of things happen behind the scenes that were not really.
But y'all, can I ask this question? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we have become so engulfed in the Bible when I think at the end of the day, the Bible has become us. We are becoming the Bible. So what is your conviction? What is...
Jesus became the Bible.
He did. So I'm asking, what is your conviction? You know, I have a very similar testimony. I never, although I ended up getting married because I was led to do that.
To a man or a woman?
To a woman.
Oh.
Yes.
They have sex?
It's on my podcast. Yes, I did. I was led to do that because of, I think, that whole manipulative control thing, because I felt like that's what it was supposed to be.
The next step.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I've never been attracted to women like that.
No.
And so at the end of the day, after I came through that marriage and I made a decision to come out of it because I believe I was being trained and conditioned to be the next pastor of a church with a wife, with somebody on the side. And I made a decision that I would never be that. I'm going to live in the truth, even if it costs me not having nothing, just me and my car and some clothes. I'm going to own my truth. So I think at the end of the day, it has to come a point where you meet God for yourself. Not this Bible that's been recorded, not what happened to Peter, not if Jesus talked about gay or not. What do you know to be the truth for yourself? I have never been attracted to a woman. And where that comes from, who wants to justify that? Y'all spend the time on that. The point is, I never have. So now my ambition has become that if I am loving a man, that I'm going to love, as 1 Corinthians says, love is patient, love is kind, love is this. That's going to be my basis. And God, when I return to you, you're going to be able to say, child, he was gay and he kissed men and he kissed boys. But when I tell you what, he walked this 1 Corinthians thing. He was patient, he was kind, he treated them as God treated us. And that he required from us, he required from himself as what he required from others. And I think if you don't get that resolved, we will never be able to honor another man. And when I say man, generally speaking, man, woman, any mannish being, human, will never be able to respect it. So I think that's why we get so in the point where we have no expectation for any of this gay stuff to last. And those that have made it into those places where it is lasting, a lot of times it's because they intentionally made a decision and came to a resolve. This is who I am. God believes in it, and therefore now I can respect who God has given me and love them as God loves me.
Amen.
If we don't do that, it's going to be a ripple effect of they hurt me, run. They do this, go. I did that, check out. But when do we get to the point of love where it's say, okay, you know what? Let's do the work. I know that's you. I know who you are. I know what you're becoming. I know what I'm becoming. And as a result of that, we're going to work this together.
So because you feel comfortable enough to believe that that's who God made you to be and all this, that, and the other, do you feel comfortable, or would you feel comfortable telling somebody else to go to God to give you that perfect mate or that person that is suitable for you? Would that be?
I believe that everything is intentional. So I believe that every movement, every moment, everybody that we meet, everybody that we touch is intentional. I think what a lot of us get off is that we don't understand the purpose of relationships. So I meet Craig and I think I'm supposed to date him. When that may not be it. And I meet, him and I think that this is what I'm supposed to be. I think we are not in tune enough with soul to understand Craig is in my life for this purpose.
Right. And I think as
And
gay
then a lot of
men-
times, especially with gay men, we
Yeah.
pull out our dick and pull out our ass instead of realizing purpose.
Right. And I think that because we're men, we sometimes confuse the relationship.
Exactly.
Instead of me making time to decide if how you're supposed to fit in my life,
Yes.
I didn't jump in the bed with you
Yeah.
because you handsome.
Yeah. Are you
Right.
top or bottom? That's the
Right.
only thing we want to know.
Right.
Right.
And I think most of us,
That's a good
we
answer.
start acting on the feelings before we deal with the psychology behind the feelings.
That's a good answer.
And purpose for which we met them. Because a lot of us are meeting people that are really intentionally supposed to be in our life. But I think initially, and especially in the gay culture, we think with dick and ass. So it's like, now what are you? All right, so I already know that that's gonna work.
It ain't
If we,
gonna
if we
work.
let it go there, it'll work. Or that ain't gonna work because we on the same team. So now what's next? Instead of thinking, what is your purpose in my life,
Right.
and why are you
That's
here, and what were you brought to my life for?
Right.
So a lot of us are abusing relationships that should be fruitful, but we've taken them to another place that they shouldn't have been.
And I'm sorry, but that's exactly why me personally, I don't agree with. If we're all in a circle, and if I've introduced you to the circle, and if I've introduced you to the circle, that's why I strongly believe that just because I introduce you into the circle, that you shouldn't be trying to have sex with everybody in the circle, because we could be in each other's lives for a different purpose, but because you've had sex with this person and now y'all are on the odds,
It's
y'all
all
have actually
family.
killed your destiny.
Yeah, but we use sex as a weapon nowadays instead of safety.
And we use sex looking for love.
Yeah.
We think sex is
Yeah.
a tool
Answer
to get to
question.
Yeah,
love.
I agree.
But you know, anybody I was with for a long time, I noticed we never had sex right away. And we, like, you might have been together for 6 years. We took 8 months before we actually had sex. Because we built a relationship. And that's why it was like, he understood the power of the we. We wanted this, we fought for it. But when he broke that, that's why we broke up.
Yeah.
It wasn't that, huh?
I don't want to interrupt you, but how long do y'all think the get to know process should be? About 6 to 8 months?
I said like a year for me. Because I feel like the first 6 months, I'm still getting to know you. You still getting to know me.
Because somebody
But-
told me they think about 6 months should be.
I think it varies.
I think it's
very
different.
It varies on
People
how
that
how,
become-
I think
how
it's
apt
different.
that person is to open up. Because some people take longer to open up than others.
True, but I do feel like after a year, you should know whether you're trying to move forward. or
Yeah,
not. It don't take that
definitely
long.
after a
Like, it
year.
really
This is this
don't.
person I'm talking to now. They told me after a year they should know if that person
But
is there ride or die.
Listen, I think in 3 months, you should know whether or not you really want to be with that person. Really, almost in a month, you can tell if this person is
Oh,
like,
yeah.
do I want to pursue something even further with that person? But after 3 months, you know, is this a long term or am I done?
Is this somebody you fuck or is this somebody you take home to
Some
your
people,
mom?
Right.
Some
And
people,
somebody-
And that's why ain't nobody been to meet Lenny and Sue. It's been a couple that's been real close, but ain't nobody been there
So
yet.
somebody told me this. I should go put your all into it and make yourself vulnerable and get into
No,
another
'cause
person.
I don't agree with that.
No,
There's so
everybody
many
that-
people that-
everybody
It doesn't
does.
work for everybody.
I
There are
did
people that are
But I
very
feel like if
malicious.
you-
There are people that are scandalous,
that
and
will
they
use
prey
you.
on people that want to put their all in. They know that
They
there's
make themselves
somebody
vulnerable.
out there. They know that there's somebody out there that's going to put their all in, and they're going to take them for everything that they have. And I'm not just talking about money wise. I'm talking about emotional wise. They're going to take you for everything you have, and then just bring you down to making you.
I
feel
don't know.
like
I
you
feel like you should be open because I feel like
Yes,
the
you
only
have to be open.
you're open. The only thing that can change
Not
my opinion of
completely.
my perception of you is you.
Not
Like I don't
completely.
care about your past. We all got one. I'm not sure about none of that. The only way it will make me look at you different is your actions. So I'm gonna be open. I'm gonna give it to you. If you change that by doing something, that's on you. You can only do but so much to me. Every action has a reaction.
That's the trust thing.
And that's the
you
trust.
have to go
You go
in
with blind
trusting the
trust.
person
Just give it a
until
shot.
they give you a reason not
Some
to
people
trust
go
them.
in like, oh, I ain't gonna trust him because I don't know.
That's all.
I ain't got
That's all
time.
theoretical and that's idyllic. But how many people really go in trusting one another?
I
That's
do
like-
like
that's what I'm
that.
going to say.
I feel like
I
this,
do.
as men, like you say, everything in life is a choice. You choose to spend your time with me. You choose to date me. You can choose to be with other people, as I could. So long as you're making the choice to be with me, I'm all in.
I don't think you should
I'm
give your
gonna
all
give it to you.
because I gave my all. I
What
gave.
do y'all think if it were my little situation?
Oh.
You know, I told you about earlier. I mean, I think you said I should just not even mention it.
Well, again, to
that
you,
person.
I think it's about paying attention. He's already demonstrated who he is.
Insecurity. and
He's
that's a
already
problem.
teaching you that he has poor communication skills. So it's about you paying attention. So it's already foreshadowing
What's gonna
what's
happen.
coming. And so oftentimes we get into situations, we punish ourselves by putting ourselves in situations that we could have avoided, but we didn't pay
You
fucking
ain't pay the
attention.
signs.
You don't see the
Okay,
signs.
and I totally agree.
Because I really
Can
wanted to make it work, you know?
See,
Go ahead.
That's it right there.
Let me ask this question.
trying.
Let me ask this question. I thought about this earlier, and because most of y'all of the y'all from the Christian church, I want to ask this question.
You
is
are
it?
too.
Yeah, I know. So, is it possible that you could be drawn to someone because of their hurt versus? Hold on. I'm
Yes.
saying, and it be right. Hold
Yes.
on. And it be right. And I think
If you heal each other's
Hold
hurt.
on. Exactly.
If you heal
so
each
what?
other's hurt,
But
yes.
you got to be conscious, of course,
Yes.
to know that.
And they have to be doing their work. You got to be doing your work.
Right.
You can't be playing therapist.
Is it? No. I get it. No, but I think
Okay.
a lot of times,
Talk about it.
again,
Ooh, I want
we
to call
go
his
into
name, but I won't do
relationships.
it.
We go into relationships. Most of us, if we be honest, we don't go into relationships with I give you all this trust and I'm just keep taking away.
Right.
No,
I mean,
we
not
go
all,
in
but
most
you
of the
get
time.
some trust.
No, most of us go in no trust and you're going to earn it.
Right. Yes,
If you
indeed.
be told.
Yes.
So my question
I'm a
is,
kid, so I get
if you
trust.
realize that there is somebody that now you've been drawn to, and it is not about looks, it is not about what they have, it's not about what, but you realize that, you know what, I am here now in a sense of an assignment because of the hurt I perceive. Now, I'm not saying be therapists. What I'm saying is that because I think there are a lot of us.
Marlon, let it go, child.
I'm-
Let it go.
Because I
There we
think,
go. Let it go,
I think you're
child.
trying to force.
You trying to force it.
I think you
Let it
decided
go.
that you are ready for a relationship, and because that's who's available, you trying to make him the one.
Man, she ain't it.
That ain't it. Let it go.
Y'all ain't
But
it.
we're saying he's not it
I
because
think
of
it's
the hair
another
thing?
love.
No, not just because of the hair
TKO.
thing.
What was the other
I'm
thing?
thinking on a fundamental level. Like you guys obviously bump head, and there's some.
Let it go.
But I'm saying, where did you
I've been
grab
there.
that from?
Well,
That's
I'm
your,
sorry
that's your
about,
all in.
Well, he said because of the
Kicking
hair
it.
thing, and there was some other
Let it
situation.
go.
You said maybe
He
it was
notices
you.
what's going on with the cabinets.
Right. It's like
He noticed when he came to my house the other night, he noticed.
How old is this man?
35.
Okay.
I opened my cabinet to get him a cup because he was about to have some drinks, and he said, "Where's that boy at? Where's that boy that you been drinking liquor with?"
See, yeah, that's
See,
too much.
And I
That's
was
too
talking to him. He
much.
said, "I noticed you had 6
Shut
styrofoam
up.
cups in your cabinet." He said, "I'm very
No, ma'am.
observant."
Okay,
No,
so
man.
Paul,
He said-
okay, can I ask you a question? Have there been other men that use those cups? Yes or no?
No.
Not at all. Okay.
Because I don't like washing dishes.
So I'm saying the styrofoam cup. So
The red little drinking cups. you
so
know.
he's totally off. Like there's nobody else has been.
totally.
But my point
No,
to you
it's-
is, let's just say you continue seeing this guy. 6 months in, the same shit's gonna happen. Then he gonna be going through, well, who was this you just text? You can't get frustrated 6 months from now
'Cause you
because
see
he
it now.
already told you
That's who he
now. who
My
he
cousin asked me
is.
today. She said, "Are you at that point of being drained yet?"
Right.
Because I tell her about everything. I said, "Why wouldn't say I'm at
But
the point
why
of
do
being
you have to
drained?"
get to the point that you have to be drained?
Exactly.
Why
I
not
totally
check
agree.
out now?
Right.
And
I'm just thinking maybe he's doing it so I can check out on my own.
Check out.
But
Check
you
out
just
before your
direct-
feelings
Well, I
get
guess on
involved.
the flip
Well, how about
side,
you
is he
say it
showing
yourself?
interest that he really likes you?
Yeah,
He's regularly
he's
talks.
showing this.
Right. So I think
instead
instead of
together, everything.
right, but maybe it's a question of not so much you, but maybe then now the conversation needs to become more of instead of you taking it more personally. Like, let's have more conversations about your past.
But let me
And
ask
let's
you
have
this.
more
But
conversations.
see, now you're
about-
playing
No, I
therapist.
don't think
You're
so.
moving into a realm of therapy.
No, I don't think so. Because I think what we do have to realize it. No, I don't. Because I think in a gay culture, what we do have to realize, as you just recently pointed out, is that we are a bunch of bruised people.
Yeah.
So I think if
But
all
I need
of
you.
us-
But I need you to take care of your brokenness before
Right.
you get to me.
But let me ask you a question.
Right.
My
And
red
that's
flag.
what
Hold on.
Someone
I
told
do-
you who they
Hold
are.
on. Just believe him. But my red
Look
flag
at the
for you.
humblest thing.
I do
What do you
believe
call
that.
you?
Going out of proportion.
What did he
That's what
call
I'm
you
saying. So
earlier?
that's already. That's
What did he
these
call
are
you earlier?
already-
Shows you who they are.
Right, when you
I've
were
been
arguing, what did he
there.
say to you again?
I do
He
believe.
said, this is what he said. He said, I'm gonna tell you the whole
There
thing.
you
He said, "You're a weirdo. You say some of the stupidest things."
See stuff
Why
like
you-
that.
so why you want-
If you
why
look
you
at me
wanna
like
be with
that,
him?
I don't want to be with you.
That
You
is
would never
verbal
disrespect me
abuse.
like that. Verbally, I don't
He's
even.
already-
That's verbal
He's on me.
abuse.
I would have cussed you out. And my cousin told me, you are good because you didn't say anything.
But
The
he's
more I
already
know-
chipping
already
away
did.
at
Right.
you by saying you're a weirdo.
Right.
Right.
That's-
And
Then next
right.
it becomes you dumb motherfucker.
Right, and that's not gonna work for me.
And you understand
listen,
it's a progression.
Listen, I'm telling you from somebody who was in a 2.5-year relationship with somebody who was verbally abusive. That is how it starts off.
do.
Yeah.
That is verbally abusive. If somebody's going to tell you that you're calling you out of your name, calling you out of your
Anyway.
character, that is verbal abuse, and that's how it starts off. And then from that,
Wait,
it's
hold
only
on,
going to
you
progress,
said-
and it's
you
going to
said I said
progress,
something
and it's going to
stupid.
progress.
My thing is, he don't
Well, that's
understand
the
you.
story.
So I think he was piggybacking off of what happened earlier, but the little hair thing. I
But
think
that's,
he thought.
but that's disparaging. For somebody
Yeah.
to say you say some of the stupidest
He
things.
looks at you like you're stupid. Why you?
And you're
And
not
you
on
trying
his
to make
level.
it work. You
He's
trying to make a
basic-
square, square.
Well, let me tell you
pin
my
of-
stupid ass.
Especially being in
Square
Atlanta,
peg.
especially
Don't
being
do
in
it.
Atlanta with a lot of people being pretentious, and I'm not saying all, a lot of people being pretentious. Basically, what I will gather from that is he's telling you that you're not on his level.
Oh, so you think?
I don't think so.
I would
Because you deep condition your hair,
So what you
and I
think
never
he's saying, though?
heard of a man deep
sorry.
condition
What
his
do you think
hair.
he's saying, though?
He
I
tells me.
I think there's a lot to that. I think there is clearly something that has happened pre you.
Oh well.
Because he
That
told
there
me.
are some things that resemble possibly, and I think that it definitely needs some more conversation. Now, I'm not saying, let me be very clear, I'm not saying that you need to counsel this boy through and you need to work him through, but I think there is a lot of assumption that's going in that, again, understanding that our community, this gay community, is one of the most battered communities ever. You know what I mean? And we are we are not only the most battered, but we are the ones that want love the most.
We crave it.
Yeah, we crave it. So I think, and a lot of times is that there is conversation being held that you're saying one thing, but it is very different. So all I'm saying is, I'm not saying invest in it. I'm saying learn from it and dig a little bit deeper to find out. Okay, the styrofoam cups was up there because I've been drinking.
And that's
So
what-
where is this coming from? So I think there is a bigger
He's
conversation.
very visual. He said he.
But that wouldn't bother me. I think him calling me stupid would bother me.
Well, I
don't
think
care
that
about
is a
cups.
bigger
He-
conversation
he-
because I think
I
you
don't give a fuck
will.
about no cups. Who
Okay,
talks?
well, we're playing on words now, but to say
Right.
that was some of the
I
stupidest
would never
things.
disrespect you. You're not gonna disrespect.
But
I'm not. No, I want to be very clear. I'm not saying counseling anybody, walking anybody through. But I also
I get what
think
you're saying,
if we are in a community full of broken people,
need to take the time.
we do need to take the time to find out roots. And we do need to take the time to find out, especially, I don't know how long you all have been together, but especially if there's been some time in it, some investment in it, then there definitely needs to be a conversation around roots. And if you can find somebody that will be vulnerable enough to talk that conversation
Right.
about roots and to talk and stop pointing fingers
But see, that's
and
what it
have
sounds
a conversation
like to me.
of
It
roots.
doesn't sound to me like he's trying to talk to you
He's talking extra.
Right.
as if there's something that he's insecure about. He's trying to pinpoint and prove you wrong and say, no, there was somebody.
Oh, because he's always right.
Let me
Was
be
it-
right.
He can't
Yes.
be wrong.
Let me
Now, when
right.
I try to have a conversation, I'm
this
mild mannered. He always
T-A-B.
like cut me off, and I say, "Dude, I see you not letting me get anything in." I say, "Can I say something, please?" He said, "Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow."
So then why would you
Yeah,
want to be
like
bothered?
right. That's
You know,
dismissive.
That's
That's
your
your
work.
best.
Why
That's
do you
your
want to
work.
be bothered?
So I'm like, and he tells me, "You are gay." He said, well, "You are gay." He said, "Maybe it's something deep within you that's coming from an insecure place or whatever." I'm like, where did all of this come from?
One thing I
No,
saw
he's
too much
definitely
growing up
insecure.
was the verbal disrespect. I feel like I don't respect my partner because at the end of the day, you're not gonna respect me. So I'm not gonna talk to you in any type of way. I have never called my ex nothing but Will or Andrew. That's his name. He ain't no nigga. He ain't no bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like in that fact, when he said you stupid, well, who you talking to? I'm not the one. Then you dismiss me. I never dismiss people. Like you said, I could have said, well, baby, the cups was for me. That's a small argument. Or you stupid, but wait, that's a bigger one. And bitch, you're not gonna talk to me like
But
that.
if there's a pattern and
And then like it keeps
coming
happening, I
up,
would be drained. And I'm like,
And it's
I
just so
can't.
crazy because we had dinner together Thursday after work. We had dinner Friday together. We cooked dinner.
You just told him to bitch
Slept
some of your
over.
ass.
It's been
Then
3
came
months,
back-
you said?
Almost 3 months.
Do you love him?
I mean, I wouldn't say I love him because I've just been
Do
conversing
you
with
well,
him.
you're not having sex, right?
No.
That don't mean nothing.
No, I'm not attaching that to love.
Oh, okay.
What I'm saying is,
Most of them
you've
was
only
kissing
been
love, that's all.
right. You've been together for 3 months. You haven't had sex because you said you haven't
All
had
right,
sex.
so
since
you
last
saying
year.
you don't love him?
I care about him.
You care about him?
So I'm trying to figure out what are you
what's the
holding on to?
investment?
Man, can you love somebody within almost 3 months?
No, sometimes it happens.
You can.
I don't think he's no
It
time.
ain't happen
limit.
every time, but
I'm just wondering, what is your
do
investment?
you see a
What-
future in it? If you don't, I wouldn't waste my time.
I mean,
Is there?
I wanted to see. I mean,
Is there something, and not to be like
I don't know what's-
mean, but is there something with you? How old are you?
I'm 38,
38. How old is he?
35.
Is there something with you that he? I guess you call his attention, and it kind of like intrigued you, it attracted you in that sense, and you feel like, wow, someone wants me. Not saying no one else wants you.
Cause you know
But,
you
you know
daddy.
what I'm saying? Sometimes you get to that place where you be like, oh my God, he really.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like
And then
that's
once you
an
got
attractive
in it
guy.
these last 3 months,
You know?
you're starting to see who they are in a sense, and it's kind of like, wow, but this is not the first. This is not the person I've met.
But you know, I always tell people,
Yeah. And what he
are
said
you
today
looking
is
at me
kinda
or do
like
you see me?
tripping me out.
And that's a big difference. Like, you can look at me all day long, but do you see me as a person? And like I always tell people, if I can lay with you without having sex and feel safe, there's a chance we can be together. Because I need to feel safe and secure. Not like you can protect me, I'm me. But in my future, are you going to go with me? Are you going to grow with me? Are you going to like the things about me that most people don't see? That says a lot to me. And I just feel like a lot of times we see things that you're just not paying attention to. And with my ex, he was verbally crazy. And I was like, oh, he just rude. And I excused it. Until the shit started coming to me, then I realized I got a man talking like I'm a damn fool.
Here's a show that I watch. It's called Married at First Sight, and just to
Oh, yeah,
cut
that's so
to
funny.
just cut to the chase. There was a woman on there. It was a black woman. She was married to this black guy. She said, "I'm easy to love." She said, "But I've never been able to find a man to love me when I wasn't easy to love."
Oh.
And to me, that thing just spoke to me because it's like, I know I can be complicated. Not complicated in a relationship, but I'm a complex. We all are.
Yeah.
I'm a complex motherfucker. So you can't learn me through text message. So if I'm just meeting you, you cannot inundate me with text messages because I need to have conversation with you over the phone. I need to see you in person. And unfortunately, dating has gone so technologically right. And so it's like even down to like your apps.
Don't have them.
How many people are on Jack? And the question then becomes, there are so many people that I think that could be an amazing way to meet people. It's no secret that I used Jack the first few years that I put my books out, and I sold more books on Jack than I did on Amazon because I connected with people on there. Through there was a link on there where it would take you straight to my YouTube channel where I'm reading a section from the book, and I was talking about that period in my life where I was having anonymous sex with people online. This was before Jack was invented. But the reality is, it's an amazing way for us as a community to be able to network, to be able to build friendships, to be able to build relationships, and we choose to reduce Jack to just sex.
To just sex.
So the question, again, if we all saying we want the same things, why haven't we found each other?
Because I go back to the original statement we
But
made that I think it is a soulish thing that we haven't resolved a lot of things. And again, you can't respect something that you don't feel like is being respected.
Right.
You can't respect relationship when you don't feel like God even honors it. You cannot respect being in love with another man when you feel like God is totally against it
At
in
your
your
core.
core.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can be out to people and those around
Yeah.
you, and we have gained ego enough to be able to say, fuck y'all.
Right.
But in our core,
In your core, you
we're
still
not
haven't
settled.
resolved
Yeah,
it.
we're not settled with
Yeah.
that God is for this.
Yeah.
And that at the end of the day, we feel like, hey, I'm already sinning in the fact that I am gay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just total all this up together. I'll run through anybody. I'll do whatever I want to do because he's just going to couple all that together.
Right.
I don't think there's any conviction because we already feel like we're wrong.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I get you.
We already feel like we're wrong. And so those that have come to realize that I'm right, now you realize that now I come to where my boundary become, again, for example, the 1 Corinthians. Love is patient. Love is kind. There are certain requirements that I still have to treat this same-sex person.
Right.
There are boundaries for that.
I think one thing that kills me with men in general is like sometimes you have felt inadequate yourself. So why would you date somebody and make them feel the same way? Like I could not see myself making you feel less than. Like I told people, I never cheated on nobody because I don't want you to think like you weren't enough for being who you are. So it hurts when you did it to me because I'm like, well, bitch, what about me that you feel like I wasn't enough for you that you did that to me? I wouldn't do that to you. Like you said, a lot of people are broken and then you break other people. When I was going through everything, like you say, it wasn't time for me to date. When I first moved here, 3 years ago, I just got a serious relationship. I didn't date nobody for a whole year and a half. I wasn't going on no date. I wasn't having sex with nobody. I wasn't there. And it made no sense for me to date somebody else and just damage you and bring all that baggage because it wasn't fair to you. And I knew for all I wasn't ready to date nobody. And even like now, I tried to date one person. We tried. I'm like, maybe I'm still not ready. So I took myself back out of it because I'm like, I don't play with people's emotions because it's just a cycle that keeps going on. Then everybody's bitter and jaded. I want the best you. I don't want no version that's ran down to somebody and hurt you so bad and then you just want to hurt me. No, I guess
But when do we do the work? You know,
I
because
started
I
watching
think
this,
it is very similar to college. It is very similar to academia. That when do we? There is an individual assignment, and then I think there are assignments that God orchestrates, that we meet people, and whatever that name is called is what it is. But there are people that is to help us work through that. And a lot of times, I think, particularly again in the gay culture, when we see something that offends us, bothers us, resembles something, it's like, oh hell no.
Right.
And so a lot of us aren't growing because we won't sit in nothing enough
We won't
to
sit in
grow.
it, right.
You know,
Which
and
goes
it's
back-
like we just keep going, and it's like, well, I'm gonna work on me.
Right.
You ain't doing no work.
Right, which goes back to you over there.
Yeah.
Because, you know, yes, you're comfortable in your skin. Yes, you're attracted to men. No, you don't think you're going to wake up one morning and want to be with a woman. But there's an ounce, there's an iota of you that still has to rectify that piece of what there's no man and man in the Bible. So there's an ounce of you that feels like this is problematic. Just a piece.
I'm sure getting hurt, bitch. It wasn't all.
You said what?
I'm getting hurt.
I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face. I can see myself walking down the aisle with another male. I can see that. I definitely can see that.
Well, gay people getting into relationships all day, every day, but that don't mean that
They gonna get
they're
married.
But can you see yourself growing up in the black church? Can you see yourself walking to the gates of heaven, holding that man's hand, and God smiling at you and
That's
saying,
not gonna happen.
"Yes." No, I'm saying because if you cannot resolve this ethereal thing that you created on the earth and this fantasy that you created on the earth is
can I say
not
this?
going to be fruitful if you
So,
cannot
let me say
imagine
this, please.
that
So-
God is for it and He smiles for it.
Because of grace, and I know we keep going back to this and we keep going biblical and all that other stuff. I understand that we're under grace and God is not angry with us like He was in the Old Testament and with some things that was going on. I understand that. My only concern is that I never ever see in the Bible that there is a man and man getting married
Right.
or a woman and woman getting married. I get what you're saying, that
Right.
there is a piece of me that sees that and has a little turmoil. But I also don't believe that God is going to frown upon me if I do marry another man.
But every time you preface your statement with "because of grace," you're saying the unspoken is the subtext to that is, I know that it's wrong to be gay, but God is not gonna
And
punish
see,
me for
I
it.
feel like this. It's so weird to me for church folks to always say what God gonna do. Unless you was there with Him, you can't really tell me much. My God gonna be just fine with me and my husband walking there. I feel that way. If me and my husband walk up, God gonna say, "Hey, Marquise, how you been doing? I'm here, ready to rest with you." So that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to get to that point because people kill me. Oh, He gonna judge you for that? I don't think so. Not my God. He told me to love people. I try to walk that life. I treat people how I want to be treated. I ain't worried about none of that stuff. Like, and everybody saying what God gonna do, well, you weren't there when He was here, so I don't know. But you tell me your story. Maybe your God won't let you in there with your husband, but mine's gonna let me in just fine.
Well. Now, I will say this, and y'all are probably going to kill me, hang me up. Y'all might want to crucify me before the night is over.
Go ahead,
But
Sean.
hopefully in 3 days I rise again. Just kidding, Lord. But I don't know
We're
that.
gonna rise again, but not in 3 days.
I don't know that when I turn 45 or 50 that I would still want to be in a gay relationship.
You said you don't know if you will.
We got some.
So your sexuality is
That means you're
circumstantial.
not settled within your spirit.
some
Like
more
I
work
said
to do.
earlier, you're not
Yeah,
settled within
so-
your spirit, and you have to settle with
Yeah.
who you are in your spirit.
And what is it about 45 and 50?
yeah.
Why not now? Why not today?
I'm settled. I know who I'm
I'm
gonna
just,
be with.
just going to, just being out and you look at people and it's like, you old and gray and you still, that again, that's just me. Again, y'all might want to crucify
I want to
But
finish
that
the
goes back
sentence. You're
to-
old and gray and what?
and you still,
Single,
Going for it.
going to the club.
You're still what?
yeah, pretty much.
But you still gotta-
But that goes back to what you said earlier about him
Evolving to the next
evolving
level,
and
like-
realizing that two men can be together successfully and happy
Right.
and old.
But see, part of why your perspective is skewed, I really want to say damaged, because, and I'm saying this for all of us, I'm not isolating you. Media has a direct impact on what we see, feel, think, believe, whether you realize it or not. It's the reason that white women grab their purses in an elevator because the news shows black men as criminals. So the reason why you can't see yourself at 45 or 50 or gray with another man is because media hasn't given you the privilege of seeing it. You don't see it on television. You don't see it in movies. Yes, we got Moonlight. Yeah, we had Noah's Ark 15 years ago, however long ago that was. But we don't see it. We don't have literature that speaks to it. So it's like the Cosby Show. When the Cosby Show came on in the 80s, black folks didn't think black folks lived that way. Unless they were living that way. Black folks were criticizing, oh, black people don't live like that. We were so accustomed to seeing people living like good times.
Right.
We couldn't understand that. But when you turn on TV in 2018, everybody is living like they lived on the Cosby Show, or better. If they put a TV show on the air today that looked like good times, it would be a fucking mutiny. The NAACP will be all over it. Why would you put us in that light? But that's what so the same is true for this. Until you get the media that you need to see to demonstrate, you're not going to believe it.
So in other words, you're saying that the media gives us permission to feel a certain
It has a
way.
direct impact on what you think and believe, and it shapes how you see the world.
Well, I think his is more than just the media. I think his.
Well, absolutely. Well, it's right. It's that, and it's compounded with what you were taught to believe about sexuality, religion, and.
But I think it goes. I think what is happening is that media is directing the conversation
Yes.
for many of us, whereas
Yes.
soul should be your director. Because again, for me, I have not seen very few successful gay relationships. But what I do know to be true is that it's possible.
And I know that they exist.
Yeah, and if you ask me how, the what, all of that, I probably wouldn't be able to describe to you. But because I am now conscious of soul and I'm conscious of what I know God is for, and the foundation of that is love in itself, what I do realize is that it's possible for anybody that would work it.
Amen.
But I know that they exist.
Yeah, and it
They
does
absolutely
exist. I
exist.
probably haven't met it. It's not going to be on camera right now, particularly because gay culture is still arising. I think it probably will show up in a couple of years, but it is possible. There are people, we've seen a few, walking around that have been together for 30 years when it wasn't even popular.
That's
But
what
it's
I was gonna
because
say. I
they
remember a lot of white couples
understand.
that have been together
Yeah.
for years.
Representation is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
That, and I also feel like because it's not solely accepted in the black community.
Right.
Like right now, if I were my brother and I are both homosexual, or loving of the same gender.
Same gender loving.
Yes. My brother feels as though he should be able to, or he talks about it all the time in front of my family. As for me, I'm reserved about it. I don't really talk about it, and I don't push it upon my family because they're not totally accepting. My siblings are, but my parents are not.
So what I hear you saying, beloved, this is Gayana Van Zandt talking. What I hear you saying, beloved, is that you diminish in front of your friends and your family.
Only in front of my family.
I hear you diminishing. You shrink. And every day that you live your life that you shrink, you die a bit.
Yep.
Every day that you're not living your truth. You're giving them, you're offering an apology for who you are. And why be somebody else when you get the privilege of being who you are?
But let me ask you this. If my parents are not accepting of it, should I push it upon them? Should I?
I'm not saying you got to push it upon them. Because for me, when I was 22, that was around the time that I told my mom that I was gay. She always knew it. Because I personally believe that your mother always knows.
My mom did not know.
But with me, I didn't push it on her. Like when I told her, I didn't talk about it every single time we got on the phone. I didn't do all of that. I spoon fed her. And I'll tell you why. Because it took me 22 years to get comfortable in my skin, to go on my first date. It took me 22 years to be okay to kiss and do it. So if I needed the time to get clear about who I was, she needed time. I couldn't expect her, because I told her today she's supposed to be okay with it, unless she was already adjusted, but she wasn't already adjusted.
And my mom was the same situation. My dad, I thought my dad was gonna be the person who was the most was upset about it. He wasn't. It was my mom. And I remember having this conversation with my dad. He was like, "Well, I talked to your mom, but what I want you to do is I want you to gradually start releasing it to her. Don't
Yeah.
all that her
Spoon feed her.
And so now, like even to this day, I'm starting to hear her say little stuff. Like a few months ago, when I had took that boy to her. When I left and got back in the car, she was like, "Oh, that was your boo thing." She would have never said that.
Right.
a month ago.
And that was what my mother
Now,
did.
yeah.
She started asking, so what happened to that guy? I said, girl, he
Right,
gone.
and
I don't
she-
even see him no more.
My mother would never do that.
She made a good
You-
point.
My
you
mother
don't think
is
she
so.
will?
Listen to me.
Well-
You listen. I'm 33 years old, and I know how my mother is. My mother would never be like that. Now, my dad initially, my dad was like, "I love you regardless." You know, he was like, "I talked to your mom. She told me the conversation that y'all had." Son, you are my child, and I love you regardless. Now, the conversation previous to that one with my mother was horrible. My mother threw the Bible at me. She called me all kinds of names. I literally cried for about 2 hours.
And this is why you
for a long
think. This is
time.
why you think what you think.
But you know what's so funny? You make a good point. Like when you have to see it. My mother was never okay with me being gay. I had got sick one time, and my ex came to visit me in the hospital. And when she saw his love for me, she turned around. It was like the whole
That
7 years
doesn't
didn't happen.
matter with my mother though, because my brother,
she saw it.
my brother nearly died with he was on a ventilator.
Your brother?
And my brother, and his partner was there, and his partner was there the whole time. When my mom, my dad, and me drove to the hospital to go and see him, and she was questioning who he was.
More so than being concerned about what was going on with your brother.
And
But here's what I want you to hear too. You're 33, and you're still trying to live for your mom.
I was gonna say,
You're still trying to live for your mom.
yeah.
I can see that. I'm not going to negate that at all.
And I was gonna say too, it took people give me grief about this, but I was 28, almost 29, before I became completely comfortable with who I was. Well, not even before I became completely comfortable. Before I started to acknowledge who I was and be okay with who I was. It still wasn't until I was about 33 or 34 before I became completely comfortable. But I had to get to the point in not only my spirituality, but even with my family, that if my family doesn't love me for who I am, and they can accept me for who I am, fuck them. And I had to be able, but that's where you have to, honestly, that's where you have to get.
But not from. I don't even think
And
it's from in a detrimental place. I think at the end of the day,
you want to be around people who love you and support you. And I had to get to the point, because my family is very religious as well and spiritual. I had to get to the point where if they can't accept me for being me, I have to be okay with losing them. Jesus. And it's a hard place to be in. Especially if you are
I'm
used
such a
that's the
family
word.
person though.
and that's
but
why
that's
I'm
the
talking to
hard
you.
thing though, because
But you're
I'm
not
such a
listening.
I'm listening
Hold
to you.
on, because I'm in the same place as you. I have a lot of siblings like you. I have a lot of family like you. But when you are resolved in who you are and what you are put on this world to be, you have to be able to say, listen, I can let them go. And I'm gonna still live my life. I'm still gonna have love. And if they decide to come around, they decide to come around. And that's a point that you have to get to with everybody in your life.
But
And guess what? My parents came around.
2018. We're in 2018. If you would have asked me this like 2 years ago when my sister got married, my parents did not approve of her marrying this guy.
Sound like they trying to control y'all.
They
trying to control.
That's why you gotta say fuck them.
Look, mama, you ain't ready to tell me what to do.
everybody.
Fuck them.
But
It's harsh.
So listen,
harsh, but it's
okay,
real.
so let's not even go back to my sister getting married. Let's just go back to me being so angry with my parental unit that I wouldn't even speak to a person, speak to my father. Let's just put it out there. I wouldn't speak to my father. If he were in the street, I would have ran him over and just like not even given a fuck. But now I've gotten to the point where I want my family to be so close because I never want to be that person anymore. I think that does have a part to play in it because I do want my family to be together. I want them to be cohesive. I don't want any drama, any disconnect.
But that doesn't mean you give them power to decide who you
How you
are
live your life.
and how you
So
live
this,
your
I
life.
want to say this to
You
you,
gotta
and this
be
is
you.
something that I recite to myself every day, and it's very, very simple. And I think a lot of us, you know, again, we in society, we've gotten to the point where, you know, like, fuck our sphere of influence. You know, we don't care about what these people think, you know. But at the end of the day, what you need to always know is freedom is going to cost you. Yeah. So now you need to make a decision at some point that either I'm going to go all the way or settle in the fact that I'm going to go part of the way and stop being offended with your mama. Because I think a lot of times what we do is that instead of us making a decision that, you know what, I'm going all the way, as he just said, and I may lose mama, I may lose daddy, I may lose these people, I may lose friends, but I would have gotten freedom. Or I need to stop being bitter, get over it, and realize that I didn't go all the way. So as a result of that, I settled in the fact that I'm going to let mama keep controlling. So stop being bitter, stop being angry, stop being mad.
I've come to the fact that if I do find this person that comes to me, if I propose or if he proposes, and we say we're going to get married, I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to tell my parents. And if they're not accepting of it, I'm going to say, okay.
But that's not fair.
No, listen.
I don't think that's fair.
No,
It's got to be before you find that person, because you got to settle it within yourself who you are and be okay with
At
it.
the end
And
of the
then
day-
and only then will you find somebody who you are gonna be okay with. I'm sorry, because I've been there.
Him and this,
Right.
and at the end,
And
at the end of the day, you tell your parents, look, this is my goddamn life.
Right.
I am who I am.
There needs to be a conversation that you say by yourself that this is who I am, mom and daddy. What y'all gonna do? Period. Because then for you to now come and bring me in there and saying, okay, now I found the partner that I love, and now I got to come in here and help fight you.
I don't want to deal with that bullshit.
Yeah, like that should have been a work done before me.
I'm in your life to love you,
Right. Not to fight mama.
because you didn't tell them that you were
Right. To help me battle them.
Okay.
And
So,
Lenny and Sue is waiting for me to bring somebody home. They can't wait for me to bring somebody
but
home.
everybody's not accepting of that. So we're going to go back.
But that's because I'm accepting
I want to
of
go
who
back
I
to what
am.
I was originally saying.
What was that?
So what I was saying was,
Right.
And what was that?
what I was saying was, if we get to the point where my parents are still just not accepting of how I want to live my life,
I think what you're saying
My-
is you're talking
myself-
about your mother and daddy only.
myself and my partner, and maybe the family that loves me and cares for me, and my partner's family that loves and cares for them, we would be a part of the ceremony and just.
But why is there not a demand now by yourself as
But
a single man
but
that mama, you got to get this or no? But I'm
I
not
can't-
going to live in a situation where I
I can't
be
make
me.
somebody accept who I am. That's just like a thief. A thief can't make his mother accept that he's a thief.
But what I'm saying is, you got to accept you first. You haven't even completely accepted you, because there's an ounce of you that believes it's problematic.
Okay, you talking about an ounce, baby. Have you looked at me?
Well, child, you keep going about this Bible and what's not written in the Bible, and you just don't know if God accepts it, even though I'm covered by grace. And you know, it's just you have to get there first before any man can come and love you and contribute to your life. You got to get that first. And I think that before we get into relationships, and part of the reason why relationships fail, period, gay, straight, whatever, is because we don't do that work while we're single. We don't do that work.
So basically, what y'all are telling me is, I'll never find a man until I can fix me.
You can find one, but is he gonna be the one? Is he gonna be the one that's gonna really pour into you and that you can pour into? You can find a man.
Okay.
Well, all I'm saying is that if this doesn't work with this gentleman, I am done.
But this
And
ain't-
that's happening.
But I don't want you
That's
to
why
be
we
like
say-
that
That ain't the one
because
for you.
That ain't the one.
I told
right?
one of my best
You
friends
said
this.
you
I
got
was
problems.
like, I'm just gonna I guess stay to myself, you know.
But again,
not the
just
end.
to go
Get
back
outta
to
here.
what they were saying earlier is because some
out.
people come into our lives for different reasons, and you assumed that this person came into your life
Who is he?
for you to be in a relationship with
Because
them.
he
But that
come
person
from me,
could have
I didn't
come.
go looking for him. Right.
But it doesn't matter though. That person could have come into your life to help you get to the next level with jobs or finances or friendships
Right.
or whatever. It didn't necessarily have to mean that person came into your life for you to be sexually attracted to them and for you to be in a relationship with them.
So, like, for every one thing that you can learn about somebody else, there are three things that you can learn about yourself. So the question then becomes, what is it this situation was designed to teach you? What are the things that it was designed? Because you can discard him and move on, but every lesson repeats itself. So then you'll meet somebody 6 months from now. Or
What am
a
I
year
learning from this?
now.
I'm like, what am I learning from this? I mean, I ain't learning from this.
I mean, it could be like a beloved situation, a demon. So listen, this is a big world.
Because I was trying to figure out what was it that was keeping me attached to this person like that.
Well, that's the thing you have to figure out.
That's what I've been trying to
Right.
figure out. What is it?
Some-
And my cousin told me, she said, Babe, I'm about to get that. She said, I'm about to come back. She said, I'm going to come to Atlanta and get this Atlanta voodoo you put on you off of you, baby. Because she said, I don't know what it is either. I don't know what it is. I'm like,
Sometimes
what
we're
is it?
infatuated with people and we think it's love. It's
And I
not-
think that because you've decided that you're ready to settle down, you trying to make him the one.
Right.
And
He ain't the one.
not to be cliche, but sometimes we do have to go back to that Tyler Perry
God.
movie to where you have to write down those pros and cons. Those pros and cons
No
of
words.
if we feel like this person is the one for us. If we have more cons than pros, then it's like
So I'm just trying to figure out, like, is everybody looking for somebody perfect? Because that's what I'm starting to figure. That's like,
I'm looking for nobody
What
perfect.
are you
'Cause
willing
clearly,
to-
he's not perfect. I'm not
yeah,
perfect.
right, what are we
Let
willing
me say
to,
this.
like,
The last person that I was dealing with, who we were in and out of relationships for about 3 years, I know I had some things that I deal with. I take a lot from every single relationship that I have been in. I try to grow from that, and I try to look and see what I've done wrong to fix it. But I also
Wait, who needs to, me? Be healed, be delivered, be set free.
Bishop Patterson said this every time he preached.
You do
Every
that.
time
You
he
do
said
that.
that certain
Tyler
name, you
Perry
be
thing,
going,
got you.
what? He what? That movie or anything. This is what you need to understand. Be
Go
healed.
ahead, go ahead.
Got you. How long ago was that?
Oh, child, it was 2002.
oh Lord, let it go.
Anyway,
child.
I'm just going to end
But
with
I
this.
was gonna
I'm
say-
going to say this and I'm going to be
How you
done.
gonna cut me off?
Because Mike, I mean, he cut you off a long time ago.
So that means you gonna be
Michael did a billboard.
I want the person that I'm with to be just as if they are my best friend. I'm not looking for the perfect person.
Yeah.
But I want that person to be like my best friend. Somebody that I can joke around with. Somebody that we can have debates with and we not get all in a tizzy and turn our backs on each other.
But is
We
that
can
gonna
agree
happen
to disagree.
automatically?
It's not going to happen automatically. However, that person that I'm going to spend I feel like I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, that's going to be like my best friend. I feel like we're going to be able to have conversations and talk about things that we would not normally talk about within a whole group of people, or talk about with our friends. I may talk about things with my mate that I'm not going to talk about with my best friend, because that does happen. Because sometimes you think your best friend is
What is it with you in this writing?
And all.
Because I hear you talk about more your friends than your fam. You need to be delivered from your family, and until that happens, you will never be
Not
free.
going right.
Because you being around us, I know you're very open. You're everything. You're gay. Everything you want to be. You know, with your friends. But then when it comes to your family, I hear all this other stuff. So once you find you, all will be added. And then once that happens, you gotta be delivered from your family, and then you'll be able to live a life. So be healed, be delivered, and be set free.
good
That was
night.
for him.
That's for everybody.
What was you trying to say?
There's other places I can write on.
Working with someone through their issues.
Well, let me see what you gotta say.
That person has to be with, because in the last relationship, I care for that person enough. I love that person enough to really work through the things that he was dealing with. Like, I know the stuff that I had to deal with, and I was working on it. But he was always just pointing to me and what was wrong with David. What David,
But I
you're
think
doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this.
anytime that's happening,
But
David,
he's
that's-
never really,
that's
he
the
doesn't
end.
see that I'm really here for you, and I'm really trying to assist you in what you're going through, and I appreciate what you're telling me, and you need to see that I'm working on that. And this is how, I'm telling you, this is how I'm working on the things that you said that were not right with me. Now this is what I'm telling you, and I need for you to work on it, but you don't receive what I'm telling you because you're so busy
Right.
on
But
me.
David, I think most people, the first inclination to somebody that doesn't want to live in truth is to deflect.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of times I think it is to drop truth, especially if you know it's somebody that you really want to invest in. Drop truth, and then you have to just back up and just love people where they are. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, again, what I'm finding, just even the situation I shared with you all, is that a lot of times you have to share truth and then back up and just love people, and it can be the most uncomfortable thing. But you back up and let them be them, and you love them where they are, and understand that, listen, I planted the seed, this is the truth. Now, hopefully someday you will wake up and realize your truth. But at the end of the day, this is it, and I'm going to love you where you are.
Oh, I
Period.
agree. Like I feel like that's where I was, and that's why we are no more, because he felt like I was wrong, and I did everything on earth that was wrong, and so I walked away.
Wait, let me
Shut up, Mike.
It's another plate. Oh God.
I let go, and
Well,
I'm
he got
done
two
with
sides
this.
to this story.
I'm done with this, but
What's on the front?
this is right. I told you, and I'm done.
Oh, okay.
He's just tired of hearing
This
about
is
it,
him.
but it's just applicable to this situation.
You better be settling down.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. This has been so much to say. If you're not subscribed to the podcast, it's available for free in SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn. Thank you for listening. Please share this with your friends, your family, and your coworkers. All right, see you next Monday.